So, we've been setting the tone. We've had government school principals, we've had early years principals, we've had school principals across the board. We've heard mental health counselors, we heard students. After this, we'll also be listening to some parents. We've gone through a concept which a lot of people here who are parents have gone through the board examination, okay? The 10th board examination, the 12th board examination. We are now seeing a new emergence, and it's called the IB board schools. You've been one of the pathbreakers, not only in this country, but in this part of the world on this. Can you explain us what this IB board continuum is?
Thank you, Mr. Gulati, and firstly, heartiest congratulations to you and the team for this great event and for bringing in educators, leaders, and students together. And I think that's what the continuum really looks like. So congratulations once again. If I may say so, I remember I was just having a conversation with Ms. Priya right now. And I was thinking that when I was in school, what did the examination look like? We would study 15 days before. We would come, we would sit down, a question paper would be there, we would write the exam and come out and get our marks. But how different is it today? And what would it really prepare us to be? So, keeping the philosophy of the IB and keeping in philosophy the pathways model that we follow of pedagogy, of lifelong learning. So there is a continuum right from the early years to the middle years to the senior school. In the IB, we've offered the primary years program, the middle years program, and for 11th and 12th, we give a choice to students with a diploma program and the career-related program. And we follow our model is an inquiry-based model, and the framework is skill-based. So when we talk about examinations, it's inquiry-led, and that builds up skills, and we prepare our students to know what to learn for tomorrow. So I think there's a continuation of a constructive pedagogical practices that we do in school.
But you're talking about tomorrow, and this is where we are. We were discussing this with principals this morning, and I was pointing out at the end, a lot of parents who take a lot of care in what their wards are studying and what their performances in academics and sports is. In the end, everyone works somewhere. Either you run a firm, or you work in a firm, or you're a professional. And when the judgment call comes from hiring, what are you judging on? Is it on the marks? Is it on the skill sets? And the conversation in the country has primarily been around skilling, sir. So what is the pathways model in enabling future employment, life skills, and employment skills?
Yeah, that's really interesting because I think our programs being skill-based, and skilling is very important, and I would relate to skill building with teacher empowerment as well, because I think when our students are really looking into developing skills and who is the one who's going to really lead them. So teacher empowerment would be one very important factor. We do it through our ethical practices, through inquiry, through project-based learning, through assessment reforms that we look into as to how to really to catch on and understand the potential of every learner in terms of their capabilities, their competencies, and their mindsets. From the primary years program, we have an exhibition at the culmination of the program, which is really research-based, and where children come together and they show their learnings in terms of transdisciplinary, what they have learned, gone through, whether it's problem solving, it's looking into today's real life issues that they face, could be on the climatic environment changes, could be on whatever bothers them in life. And when they come up to the middle years, they have an opportunity to do community projects, to do personal projects. What drives them? I just heard one of the students talking about, how in life, what drives them to take it forward. So these are opportunities which give our children a lot to learn, to skill, and to practice. Coming on to the diploma program, they have the community, activity, and service learning, and an extended essay where they follow up on research questions, which they relate with their own choice of subjects that they pick up. We also have the career-related program where they do a reflective project. A reflective project is again based on the career study that they choose and related to that, what it means to face a real life issue. So skill building really is a part of it, and that makes the child more adaptable
You know, the
to
word
learning.
that you mentioned was exactly what I was about to say, especially if you're a young student. Trust me, a large part of the next 20, 30 years of your professional building, wherever it is all about problem solving. That's all I do in a day. The skill sets you can learn, you can hone, knowledge comes your way if you are always open to learning, but it's all about problem solving. But that's at the school level, sir. We are trying to do reform in the country at a policy level. There is a new economic policy that's come our way. Curriculum reform is happening. We are talking about breaking out of silos. Uh, what what are the low-hanging fruits that are sort of there that we can sort of grab, that you can see on the horizon? Because otherwise, education reform can be a very sensitive matter, and it can lead to policy quagmires as well.
So I think with the new policy reforms, it's really good because one of the recognition is on interdisciplinary. And the recognition that the learning has to be skill enhancement. Because again, I'm not very sure whether it would be the right thing to really ask that what jobs would they be 10 years from now or 5 years from now. I would really say that what kind of human beings are we creating for 5 years, 10 years down the line so that they would adapt to uncertainty. So the low fruits that I can think of, one would be really, again, what I mentioned is about teacher empowerment, because it's got to do with enabling them, it's got to do with trust, it's got to do with time, and as to how can they personalize learning to bring out the potential for every child. So I really would consider that as one of the major things that we really need to work on.
You know, Captain, not too long ago, even access to knowledge and information had a monetary component to it. You had to be able to afford to be a member or have access to libraries which had the right books that you could procure, because procuring books was also become an expensive affair. Now, you'd think that with the universalization of knowledge, it's available whether you get it through an LLM or you get it through Google. Knowledge is now available. So we have this, what would obviously be an advantage, but at the same time, we are having these conversations that screen time and social media is leading to a cognitive depletion. It's not actually helping the kids. How do we solve this conundrum where there is information, but maybe too much information?
So there are many debates around screen time and non-screen time. But what do we do in pathways? Our philosophy is actually on know, do, and become. So you mentioned about knowledge. Knowledge is about conceptual skills. It's about conceptual understanding. And doing is really putting it into practice with building up the skills. And becoming is what we really want to become. So digital citizenship, empowerment to live socially responsible lives. And while there's got to create a balance, and I think one of the challenges in humanity, in all of us that we face, is how to create that balance. So everything needs a balance. If we look into times ahead, technology, everything is happening through technology. So I'm not sure whether it would be fair to say that to ban screens, but yes, as developmentally children progress, whether it's from early years to primary years to middle years, it's very important about the resilience as to how much they can take. And every child has a potential on its own. There's a learning curve for every child. So I feel if we can really understand, there are some children who are really adept in it and who can manage things well. But some are children who need a little more time. So hence the low-hanging fruit that you mentioned about. One of the most important thing, again, I would say it's about the teacher empowerment as to how do we work for them to recognize the potential. But back in pathways, we really focus on character building. It's about competencies. It's about having what learners can do, the mindsets that we talk about. It's about a portrait of who our pathways in, of who a student is that we want that child to become.
You know, it's everything, because I'm assuming when you are speaking with teachers and staff that you are employing, you're assuming that everybody's coming with a standard of education. Beyond that is just about, can you handle the pressure? Do you have conviction? Are you honest? These things matter a lot more. That's what matters to me when I'm hiring in my profession. The other part of a large conversation is that, pollution, whether it's water or air, these become hectic topics which have an impact immediate on young children, not only in their health, but also in their schooling. We've gone through COVID. Now we've gone through areas where you're back to online classes. How can we really involve the kids in environmental sustainability? Because we've been studying about it for 30, 40 years. How can we really involve them in project-based implementation of this?
So I'll take a moment and reflect on what you spoke about. I think your second or third conversational aspect of this was on the skills. So one of the skills that we drive in school are thinking skills. Thinking skills got to be with problem solving. It's got to do with critical thinking, research-based skills. Second skill that we really want our children to build up is on human skills. Human skills are based on empathy. How do you collaborate with each other? Relationships is so important. And the future-ready skills that we want our students to have. Those future-ready skills would be on sustainability, entrepreneurship, digital fluency. So if I speak about the climatic aspects on environment, back in the NCR, the moment we get over with our spring seasons, it becomes really hot. We get government orders that it's hot, close down the schools. Quickly, it's followed by monsoons. Our infrastructure may not be so robust in Gurgaon. Many times again, we are given instructions, or because of logistic issues, okay, close down the schools. It's heavy rain. The monsoons get over, we've got a little bit of time, and it comes to post-Diwali. Smog, pollution, AQI just goes running high. What do we do? So there's an entire year, a majority of the year which goes in these issues. I cannot shut my school. The learning has to happen. We make sure that our children they learn to work with uncertainty, they adapt themselves, they are flexible, and they can take on challenges as they come. But we also deal with parents. I also have a responsibility as an educator towards my parents. Fortunately for us, Pathways is the lead certified school, which is leadership in energy and environmental design. Our buildings are created in a way which are climatically friendly with our HVAC systems, with our ventilation, with our air propellant. So we are fortunate because within our classrooms, our AQIs are really well. So we do teach our children when it's online or hybrid, it's not really about online and hybrid. It's really about sustainability of learning. We also make sure that our children learn to learn. We also follow up on asynchronous learning because we want our children to be self-directed learners as well. They must be regulated in their emotions as well. So I think what you spoke about holistic learning and inspiring them in experiential learning, this is an experience aspect of growing up in life.
Yes, because most of what we learn is eventually going to be skills we pick up in future professions. Who we become is very, very important. That happens right now. We only got a couple of minutes left, sir, but I want to touch you upon this because a lot of people who are watching this live telecast across our news network, for many people, for parents, even students, education abroad has been an aspirational thing for my generation, your generation, and even before that. I've had grandparents who studied abroad. Even today, even though we are seeing good institutions, good technology, good infrastructure developing here within schools, where are we on the curve right now where that aspiration gets fulfilled domestically?
Interesting, and I'm very happy that the higher education is changing in India. Again, it's also policy driven, and I'm so blessed that many of our students are choosing India to study in. And India is growing rapidly, and also we have a lot of universities from overseas which are coming into India, and our Indian universities which have a lot of collaboration beginning a collaboration within schools, outside schools, partnerships are flourishing, and where you can have dual degrees that you can do within India, you can have degrees that you can do outside India. So I think that's a blessing, but however, there's still a lot to be done. So one of the things is that while we speak about entrepreneurship, we speak about internships, we speak about the industry stepping up a little more, and what would be the outcome of a university? The outcome for a school is really to make them lifelong learners, where we prepare them for life ahead. We don't just prepare them into getting into a college, but we also prepare them to sustain that college learning as well. But for universities, I also think that their outcome is not just about placement statistics. It's also about employability. So there's a lot to be done on that sector.
It is, in the end, what can you hope? You can hope good human beings have a happy life, fulfilling life. That's what you can hope upon.
Many, many congratulations, Pathway School Gurgaon, winning for Best in IB Board Teaching. And to collect this award, joining us on stage is Captain Rohit Sen Bajaj, School Director, Pathway School Gurgaon. Let's keep the applause going, please, for this next award. Many, many congratulations to our winner of this award at the First in Class Awards and Summit 2026. And thank you very much, Honorable Minister Harsh Malhotra ji, for doing the honors. Thank you very much for joining us.